Great, it's time for Mock the Week. The dictionary defines hot air as empty, exaggerated, or pretentious talk. And this week, it seems, was one for the record books when it comes to hubris and just plain hot political air. It's also a week that saw Brazil blow hot air and concede a record number of goals in the World Cup. This and the solution to all our political problems in this week's episode of Mock the Week with Wilson Mburu.
The 28th week of the year. Ay. Where does one start with this one? The day the whole country had been waiting for was finally here. Saba. It was going to be the biggest party of the year. After months of running around the country, consulting with millions of Kenyans, having a snooze while standing, making ultimatums, and consistently being given a resounding Hakuna. It finally was here, the grand finale. But first, let's clear some small business of promises.
300,000 people have agreed that we got to have that dialogue with Raila in his home in Karen.
When the day finally came, however, neither this guy nor his fellow breakfast-hungry Kenyans were anywhere to be seen.
We decided to give them a chance to see what they're going to do with their Saba. And then we discovered that it was hot air.
All right, let's see what kind of hot air was being blown here. They came in numbers, dancing, shouting and chanting. And the day would have been incomplete without just a bit of stone throwing and tear gassing. The clever ones came armed. This was going to be a long day. Then cometh the hour, cometh the man, or in this case, cometh the three men. Called them the three wise men. And like the woman who hoped to just touch the cloak of Jesus for a miracle, everybody here seemed to be on the same mission. Finally, when all settled down, it was time for the business of getting down. Come on, Mr. Professor, stop embarrassing yourself. Anyway, everybody had some hot air to blow, and blow they did. For instance, we thought this guy was serious when he said, turns out he was just blowing hot air. In his defense, nobody really asked him to sleep there. However, they seemed not to have been blowing hot air when they said,
Hakuna dialogue tena. Bas tutaongea na hawa directly.
Let me stop you right there, Mr. Mapambano. You're confusing me here. If you're talking to him directly, isn't that dialogue already?
Okoa.
Yes, Okoa Jahazi had given birth. But here's the thing, this colorful hot air balloon did not go unnoticed. And after the stomachs were full, it was time to take care of this hot air disturbance.
Karibu kuja tukunywe chai uniambie tabu yako.
Nani aliambia Uhuru Kalonzo Wetangula na Raila hawezi kunywa chai kwa nyumba yao?
Oh boy, this tea business will not end well. But there's a solution.
Chukua simu, piga, sema Bwana Rais, ile namba yako ulibadilisha, nikupatie mpya kama nimebadilisha.
Naona mawingu imetanda.
Hata hatukuona rasarasha.
Okay, this hot airing has gone on for too long. Let's ask a guy who owns everything. Hey, how do we get rid of this heat?
It will be cheaper for Kenya to put all the politicians on a boat and send them on a holiday for 1 month.
With all that happened on Sabasaba, here's what we're forgetting. We need more Sabasaba rallies in the capital city. They're an important part of our daily lives. Our reporter Jerry Mushura investigated this and tells us why.
On the morning of July 7th, most Kenyans woke up with trepidation and anxiety over the day. The religious ones had spent the better part of the previous week commanding the heavens and the earth to get with the peace program. The day came and went, and with it some joys that Nairobians only dream about. For example, this was Kenyatta Avenue on Sabasaba. One would have sat on the road and read a newspaper comfortably. This is Kenyatta Avenue today, and you can't even imagine what is causing all this traffic. It was a day also characterized by glorious quiet in the CBD, and the biggest surprise was the availability of parking spaces in the middle of town, in the middle of the day.
People everywhere. It is a nightmare to walk through the streets today, and there's no sign of policemen anywhere.
On Monday, however, things were a bit different. Cops, and even more cops. Sabasaba showed Kenyans the ideal Nairobi, the Nairobi we need, the one we want. We need Sabasaba every day, for this is the embodiment of our Vision 2030.
The good news is there will be Nane Nane, Tisa Tisa and Kumi Kumi. But let's shelve that for a moment. This Sabasaba mood was exported to Brazil. The Brazilian football team thought it was unblockable, so they went into this game with Germany full of confidence. In fact, confidence all round was so high that a certain news anchor decided to predict the outcome of the game.
I'll just go ahead and make a prediction for this one. Brazil are winning.
Of course, after the game, that anchor was fired as the station's director of football games predictions and the position given to a camel, one that predicted correctly which team would be eaten alive. The Germans scored and scored and scored and scored some more, and just when we thought they were done, they scored again. Then they went for a break, came back and scored some more. The pain was too much for the Brazilians, including Christ the Redeemer, who couldn't watch it anymore. So what was the problem with these South Americans?
Kumaliza mwaka moja bila kufanya tisi, yani inakuanga shida, unaelewa?
For the Germany supporters, oh, what joy. And guess who was on their side as well? After all is said and done, though, that's what Kenya should be, a dancing nation, not one that squabbles over dubious handouts dished out by politicians to hoodwink us from their promises, which, as we have learned today, are just hot air. Wilson Mburu for KTN's Mock the Week.